Yeah, but this is kind of a new show I want to start because a lot of people have trouble getting on calls and showing their product. They're like, "Oh, send an email. Hey, what do you think of the product?" And as you've discovered, this is you're
Dude,
missing out on so much.
yes, dude. I've had a steep learning curve since the
Mm,
last weekend
mhm,
because we kind of maxed out, let's say, our close network for the
mhm,
early adopters, for the first early adopters. So we were like confronted with the question, okay, how are we going to get from like the first 10 to the first 100? And
mhm,
then we mapped out basically all the channels like TikTok, IG, Facebook, LinkedIn, and we decided to just go for X cold DMs right now
mhm,
outside the build in public community. So really outside the indie hacker techie bubble, because that's the people we want to reach, and that's in our mind, that's the ideal user.
yep.
Somebody that isn't like technically on that level where they could just maybe set up like a really complex cloud project or something, and that's where
Mhm,
we want to come into play. And there's some things that sets us apart from like just using ChatGPT, of course, to come up with content or content
mhm,
ideas. But um, like the first, let's say, objection you would get from indie hackers or something is like, I can just like on the front end, it looks
mhm,
really simple, right? So the
mhm,
first objection is that I could just build this like in 2 weeks, or
mhm.
I can just use ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini or something like this.
For
But
Grok,
if you,
because it has access to all the tweets.
it doesn't actually, yeah, and it
It does
doesn't
not.
have
Uh,
like Claude. Like you could just copy paste some tweets there, like as reference, right? But
mhm,
you will hit like, I mean, Robin and me, we discussed this a lot,
mhm,
like how we used ChatGPT for Reddit and for X, for example, and we were like so unsatisfied with it, and
yeah.
that's one of the reasons why we moved into this direction. So if we go inside, basically
Mhm,
what you have is at the like we are still in the MVP phase, but we have one flow to generate content ideas. And before that, you should go into the background information. And what you have the ability here to add basically any kind of information. So we have kept this very free at the moment because we thought users would like get the knack of it. There was like we disproved that thesis, you could say. They
mhm,
need a lot of more, like they need so much guidance when it comes to the background information. What kind of topics to add? How do I set it up in a way it works for me?
yeah.
And we've discovered this in a lot of calls with the users. I think I had like 10 calls now in the last few weeks,
Mhm,
and it always comes down to the background information. But basically, what we do here is we allow you to add any kind of information about you. That could be your business, or your expertise, like the domain of authority you want to like post or create content in. And what I've done here for myself is just I've created one topic describing the writing style. So
okay.
just quickly added some topics overall I like to post about. And then I did actually a screenshot of my
Mhm,
timeline on X and asked ChatGPT to give me like a quick bullet point list describing my writing style.
mhm,
That's just for reference. And for my personal background, I added just my interests
okay.
overall on an abstract level. And before that, I deleted this right now because I wanted Postel to come up with like not to pick up a lot of specific information, but before that, I added like um, a really long description of everything I did so
Mhm.
far in my indie hacker journey. Because
And it doesn't like it's not good for that. Like, are you
oh,
supposed to keep it short?
no, it's good for that. But if you want that, like if you want Postel to pick information from that,
Mhm,
it's really good for that because it will take certain details from your
mhm,
indie hacker journey, from the information you add, and it will spin up new content ideas. But lately, I just wanted to Like I wasn't searching on, like I w didn't want to post about my indie hacker journey anymore. I just wanted
Hmm.
new ideas. That's why I kept it really really short. Like
Hmm.
I just said, I'm going all in on Postel right now. I wanted to see what Postel is going to come up with.
Hmm.
And then the last thing I did, I was just copy pasting some information about
Hmm.
Postel from our landing page and added it there. So basically, you have the ability to add anything here. And if you want the content ideas to be really specific to you, you should
Hmm.
add a lot of information about you. And we're working right now on streamlining that process so people later on can just add their X account, or we will do like the scraping for them and
Okay,
like collecting the ideas. We are also thinking about like adding Notion integration. So
that's
you don't,
cool. Yeah.
yeah, you don't have to do all of this manually, and we don't want to give the user this kind of overhead, right? But
Hmm.
after that, and that's the way I'm personally using it and how I'm explaining it to users too.
Hmm.
If I have something specific in my mind, I can describe it here. Let's say,
Okay.
for example, uh, lately I've been doing a lot of user quotes,
Hmm.
come up with ideas about that,
Okay.
like the struggles. And then it will generate 6 ideas in different post types we have identified in like thousands of viral posts that should be related to whatever you have described here. So, and that's basically the idea or the selling proposition you could say of Postal
Hmm.
overall. Like what we are doing for you is like turn any kind of information about you or maybe a post idea you have in a structure that's most likely to perform by having analyzed like thousands of viral posts and then distilled them down into like certain post types
Hmm.
that we have basically mapped out after looking at a lot of viral posts, and we discovered that basically every kind of viral post falls into one certain category. Like for example, it's an inspirational type post, personal story,
Hmm.
a guide, a listicle, something
Hmm.
that shares like a valuable resource, or like a ask me anything type post. And you can spin up, like you get like post ideas or every kind of post category based on
Hmm.
the idea. If you just want to go like random,
Yeah.
you can just hit generate post ideas and it will go into your background information and come up with new ideas.
Okay.
And that's how it's working right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, add the drafts, and then what happens if you open it in editor?
In editor, you have like the ability to just edit it with some rich text like
Hmm.
functionalities or rewrite it with AI.
Yeah.
So I have different um,
Hmm.
functionalities here like a normal editor to make like the workflow a bit faster.
Hmm.
What I'm not too much inside here, to be honest. For me, what I do is just I build a big content library, you could say. And every
Hmm.
time, so I've been now on X for roughly 6 to 7 months, I think. And
Yeah.
I've told myself I'm going to post every single time at least once a day to just never lose the habit of
Good.
like to come up with content. And
Hmm.
one of the biggest bottlenecks over that time is to actually come up with like a new thing to say, with like a
Hmm.
different angle, a new idea. And then once you have that idea, the next challenge you could say is how do I package this idea or what I want to say in a way it's most likely to perform on X specifically. And the
Hmm.
same goes for Reddit or LinkedIn. And that's how I'm personally using it. Like if I feel like, okay, I should post now and I don't have something on my mind already. I either go and generate something or I just go through my post, like content library, and then
Hmm.
something usually will spark my interest like a hook or a topic, a new topic I didn't thought of myself, right? A couple of days ago, I generated something with like about sales and Alex Hormozzi's framework, right?
Mhm.
And then I just like browse through this, and I know these are all kind of related to me, and they're already in a structure I can like they're almost 80% there where I want them to be. And
That's great. And
um,
what is like for me,
yeah,
as somebody who's looking at this and is like saying, how can I use this, right? Uh, the first thing that comes to my mind is the thousands of posts that you're analyzing. Is that like a recent data set, like, or like do you update it?
yeah, we are going to update it. Like we are working on something. So that's something we add right now, just step by step.
Yeah, but
And
is that something like, is that the core feature here, like the core value is that you've collected 1,000 posts that are super viral?
um, I wouldn't say that like it's a part of it, I think.
Uh-huh.
But I'd say the core features actually, I'd say it's half of it at least. I would
Yeah.
say the main value here is to help you bring out your message, your expertise in a
Mhm.
way that is like optimized to perform. And when we come to that optimized to perform part,
Yeah.
that's where we get to the viral tweets or the viral content of X, Reddit, or LinkedIn.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
that exactly. So the background information, or how you scrape who I am, my
yeah,
identity,
yeah,
is one part, and then the second part is pushing that or putting it in some sort of like viral packaging
yeah.
that you can browse and collect and all of that.
Yeah, and so
Yeah,
we are working on like giving the user more like control over that. Like because
yeah,
not every viral like you have different writing styles and let's say structures or hooks depending on the niche you are in. So we want to give the user right now more control on that, and we're working on
mhm,
something that imagine you could just type in, okay, I'm in the X growth niche, or I
mhm,
like to post about copywriting.
mhm.
You give Postel that information, and Postel will select only templates for you that from that niche, like new templates that went viral in the last couple or so weeks, right? That's
Yeah.
something we are working on right now. We are building, like in the back end right now, we are building like the foundation for that.
Because
Um,
that's the thing that's like tomorrow's gonna be great because we're gonna dive into a lot of this stuff,
yeah,
like how to strategically grow it. But I'm from a demo perspective, I'm a lot of this information that you're sharing with me is hidden
yeah,
uh,
true.
from the platform, so it will not communicate that value.
Yeah, that's
You know what I mean?
something. Yeah, that's something we still have to add on the landing page and also here. And one
Yeah, there
of
needs
our
to be some sort of, like, for example, uh, I'm definitely going to share this idea tomorrow again, but I might have already told you this too. Like a newsletter of this week's top viral posts.
yes, that idea stuck with me a long. Like
Yeah,
I keep coming back to that idea, and I'm
because
looking.
it's a good communication tool too.
Yeah,
Because it says, "Hey, we as a team take this seriously," and it'll give me confidence that, oh, okay, I don't need to go and scrape the internet for viral posts on Reddit or
yeah,
Twitter or the future Hacker News or all of these platforms that have this kind of virality social aspect to it,
yeah.
right? So that's one thing. It's not communicated here. So as a user or as a prospect, just seeing the demo, it seems like, okay, I give it background information and it comes up with these styles,
Mhm.
and it gives me ideas, right?
Yeah,
So and then you have all the social proof or whatever. Like, in terms of the density of ideas, six seems maybe too little. But you're saying, you build this library up for yourself.
Yeah, of
Can you hit start again? What does start do?
course.
Okay, start is content inspiration, refine my idea, and then repurpose content. Oh, these are coming soon. All right.
Yeah. And
Uh,
these are, yeah, we are right now working on the foundation for that. There is another thing I'm
I would not,
discussing.
yeah, I would not have coming soon.
Yeah.
Let the product speak for itself. Like, don't fall into the trap of promises. You
Oh, yeah,
know,
yeah.
I've I've done that mistake. Like, oh, landing page coming soon. It's not coming soon. But yeah, and focus on the content inspiration. Make that amazing, right? That experience, make it great. Because right now, uh, like it's content inspiration. So even start is not a good label for that.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, what does start do? Uh, you know, and if it's just content inspiration there, and then the second one is my library or posts or something like that, that makes more sense for me.
Mhm.
Background information is good. Organization settings, that's the settings, or what's organization settings?
That's just settings, like
Yeah.
billing and usage.
Okay. Yeah. So like use yeah. Why is that not in the what happens if you hit Joshua test at the bottom?
That's basically my account settings. So
What's the difference?
we allow you to invite other members. So that would be organization.
Oh,
So I
okay.
could,
So yeah, yeah, all
yeah,
right.
but that's something we already have like, yeah, in the backlog that we should communicate that better to the user, like the difference between account settings and organization.
Organization. You can just have it organization. It doesn't have to be settings. My organization. Or that should be maybe an enableable thing because this is from both like my strategic side and as a user.
Yeah,
Because I'm as a user, I'm very picky. Like you remember, I downloaded it and I was like, the design is off and whatever. Like
yeah,
for me,
yeah.
for
Yeah.
me, those things like bother me. Like
Mm,
so maybe I'm too picky of a user, but uh, I would like to see this more focused on the core usage right now,
mm,
and make that experience feel almost abundant.
mm.
You know what I mean? Like even like
When you say abundant, what, like, how does it look for you?
so the flow will be, I'm guessing, is you start with background information, right?
Mm,
Like if I download this, so go to background information. All right. Here, this kind of feels not too intuitive,
yeah,
right? I need some sort of onboarding, right?
yeah.
Like upload your websites and then you do the scraping, something like that. And then after that, maybe a little bit of information like new topic. I don't understand how background information relates to topics.
Mm,
You know what I mean? So, anyways, you go in there, you give the background information or maybe personal information,
yeah.
uh, or even because it seems like a one and done thing where the way you're describing it seems like an ongoing thing. Am I?
It depends on what you, it really depends on your use case, let's say. If
Mm,
you, if your content is like focused around, let's say, your journey, it's definitely ongoing. It's something that grows with you, the background information. It's not
but
static.
but they're all journeys,
Yeah,
right?
but there's some people like on X, for example, they don't post a lot about themselves. They post more about topics or like their domain of
Yeah,
authority, I would say. Like they post like value content, for
yeah.
example, about copywriting, marketing, or something like that. And that's
But that is a journey as well. Like maybe this is like a cheesy title, so
yeah,
you know, take it as you will. But maybe something comes from that, which is like my content journey, right?
yeah.
and then I can give it my background information, but I can also say, hey, this post did well, right? I can,
Mm.
maybe copy and paste the post in here and say this crushed, this was the stats here. So it also kind of has context of where I'm going or the ongoing journey,
Yeah.
right? And then after I fill this out, the background information or content journey thing, I then go to not the start keeps throwing me off. I go to the idea generation thing, right?
Yeah.
Content inspiration. I go to content inspiration and I start playing here. This is like the playground,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Add more details doesn't seem like a prompt, just the label of it, right? It
Yeah.
doesn't seem
True.
like, hey, you come here and prompt it, you know, because content inspiration is just, like there's a lot to play here before you generate posts, which is great. And then show previous ideas is takes you to posts. Is that
So
uh
yeah, it's like if you don't add them to your drafts, you
uh-huh.
can just browse like through everything you previously generated but didn't add to your drafts. So we don't want to basically you use up one of your generations every time you hit post ideas, but we don't want to
Also,
steal
it's like a
your.
cache. It's almost like
It's
a
yeah, it's
idea cache.
cache. Yeah, yeah.
All right. Yeah, yeah, all previous ideas, something like that. And then posts is like bookmark ideas.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, like for me, I was like thinking about using it, and the idea part, like helping you come up with ideas,
yeah.
seems like the core thing
At the moment, yeah. At the
at the
moment.
moment, but
Yeah,
that's what you're selling at the moment.
true. Yeah,
You're not selling a future. A product is something I want to use today. You sell
true.
your vision to venture capitalists. You know what
True.
I mean? Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
that's
true.
that's not something you're selling customers. So
Yeah,
customers want to know what can I get today,
yeah,
right? And I would love to see this product go there, right?
yeah.
But
So
yeah, yeah,
there's something like still. So we discovered that people really want to see like the other flows also. But the idea part that already helps a lot. But like you nailed it, like the communication when it comes to like how to use it, what goes into the generated ideas,
mhm,
that is not communicated at all right now through the landing page or through like the product once you're
yeah,
inside. And I think that also like if I just hit generate post ideas, I
yeah,
think the perception of the value of the things it's low because it seems random, right?
yeah.
And
And the like one place to browse viral posts, just go in there and you see, hey, Mark Lou posted this and this guy posted that, and
yeah,
you can maybe categorize it by niche or whatever.
mm,
That's something I thought was super valuable. And if you have that hidden behind something,
yeah,
maybe your instant thing is, oh, someone's just gonna come in and scrape it all and copy us, you
yeah,
know, which is, valid concern. But maybe you do whatever, you know, top posts
mm,
like last week or something like that, where it's like you don't show all the database,
mm,
so they can't scrape all the database, but you show like 10 at a time, like
mm,
10 every day or something, or something like that, like where it's like, oh, right, because it gives me a lot of confidence and also gives me inspiration. And
mm,
maybe in your newsletter you can break down these posts. You're like, hey, this is why this post is performing. Look at this line, look at this, whatever, and it's a breakdown, and it'll keep you current because virality changes. It becomes old
true.
very easy, very fast.
Yeah, there's some products that are doing exactly what you are saying. So
Mhm.
basically, you can go inside. and it's going to display
Uh-huh.
good content from your niche.
Hmm.
And we have we have discussed doing that,
Hmm.
and it's now this like the third time I think I hear that suggestion, and I think like we have to add that because the biggest part of that is not even the ideas, it's more about the perceived value, like the
Yeah.
confidence in the product. Because once you see, okay, they got all this viral content in here, if I now hit generate post ideas, or
Yeah.
if I now create some kind of content with Postel, there's a connection going on
Yes.
between. And
Yes.
that's something I think is really big,
Hmm.
but I don't know why we didn't went that route, to be honest. Like it's something we still already discussed.
It's
But yeah,
fine. Like a lot of these things, don't happen linearly, right? It's not like
true. Yeah.
you understand it and then you're like, okay, let's implement. Like it goes through these phases, and
Yeah, true.
and like in my journey, like with Caravan Notes, uh, I am realizing you do have to have parallel. Like you have to compete on the extra, but have all the baseline things that your competitor has,
Hmm.
because you don't want people using your thing for something. Nobody does that, right? They just want one solution that does the whole thing.
True.
Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's this idea called the complete solution, and that's how you guys should expand. But yeah, I love what you're doing.
Yeah.
Uh, at the moment, it's not convincing for me,
Yeah.
So if you have any questions about that,
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe
I'm happy to
like
answer. But I am interested.
besides the okay, what's that's of course very interesting.
Mhm.
Besides the things you mentioned, what are the
Mhm.
things like what move you would make you go, okay, I'm gonna give this another try? Because the last time you tried, that was super early. That was like the internal
Yeah.
beta launch, right?
Mhm.
Um, what do you have to see to say, okay, this might work for me? Or
Just crushing that one use case, the idea
yeah, okay.
generation use case.
So it's about the so it's not even about like proof it's working. It's more
No,
about
it's
seeing,
just that use case of, hey, I got I want to post on whatever it is platform.
yeah,
Uh, I have ideas, and I'm not bad at posting,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Uh, but I'd like a second kind of inspiration place to kind of go
Mm,
and be like, hey, this is what I'm thinking about posting.
mm,
And then it's like, boom, here's 12 ways to say it, or here's maybe ideas off of that, or here's just this idea generation thing
yeah.
where like I can go and get more inspiration. Oh, maybe I get an inspiration about tomorrow's post, or
Mm,
a post, because
yeah,
for me, if I'm on a roll, I'm posting every hour. It's not like once a day. It's like,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
because that's the cycle, right? 1 hour, if it takes off, it's gonna take off, and I can chill. But if it
yeah.
dies down, you can post again and again and again,
True. Yeah.
right? So
How do you go about like how does your posting process actually look like? So let's say the content, your content creation process looks like actually.
my content creation process is, I know my brand. I'm
Yeah,
like, I'm committed to this founder supporting founder thing,
yeah, yeah,
because I needed that when I was, your age or younger.
yeah,
Uh, and I have a ton of experience. Like, for 10 years, I read a book a week. So that, I stopped counting the books that I've read.
yeah.
So I know a lot. Uh, and I wanted to share my knowledge in a way that
Mm,
is consumable. The reason I got into social media was because I wanted to practice writing, because I
mm,
wrote a book, but it wasn't up to my standards of reading, because like I read a ton of books. So I'm like, this is not the
mm.
best book I can write. Uh, and that's why I'm building Caravan Notes, because it's like embedded all the writing knowledge and all of that. It helps you write better, all of
Mm.
that, in long form, not like what you guys are doing, which is
Yeah.
you know attention grabbing posts.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, but I try to post first thing in the morning something. If it's advice, if it's because a lot of support is not advice.
Mm.
A lot of support is just this day sucks, right? And I don't feel like building, and I don't feel like working, and I'd
Yeah.
rather just veg out and play Call of Duty, or and I see my role as like a reminder. Hey, bro, you're crushing it. Keep crushing. Like you guys are
Yeah.
crushing it. You're not getting the results you want, and that is normal. Like you can maybe for 2 months, 3 months, you don't reach your 100 goal. You don't do the things,
Yeah.
and all of this weighs on you, and you're like, you know what? Fuck it. I got this great consulting offer or whatever. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go do that.
Yeah.
But that's not what you need. You need to stay focused. You need to keep chipping at it. You need to invest that energy, even though you feel down. So like I try to come up with posts like that where it's like, hey, bro, keep doing it. You know, try to connect in that way, right? So
Mm.
I have those kinds of posts. I try to do that once a day. I have caravan notes, things I'm building, sharing my journey.
Yeah.
I try to post that, once a day. Feedback Friday obviously is, kind of already like built in the virality and all of that.
Yeah.
Uh, I got Founder Juice once a week. I try to do it
Mm.
once a week every Saturday. Uh, I'm doing this one now, the demos, to help people, like get this kind of feedback. Because like I don't care
Yeah.
about hurting anybody's feelings because I know I'm coming from a place of support. I'm not trying to
No,
break
like
anybody
that's,
down or
I think
you know.
anything that is really like, let anybody that is on this journey and gets it,
Yeah, I'm trying to
he,
support. Like
yeah,
I can see
it's,
the people who are like, oh, you don't like where they try to put their expertise like, hey, I know better than you. I don't know better than you. I'm just I have my experience and I'm sharing my experience and I'm sharing my take, my personal
yeah,
opinion.
yeah,
I'm not trying to say, hey, I know better than you or whatever, or hey, by the way, Joshua, if you do this idea generation use case, that's the right. No, that's how I'm gonna convert.
mm,
You can do whatever you want.
yeah,
Maybe you have a bigger vision, maybe you see something I don't see, and that's fine. I'm open to that. So yeah, but it's right now it's just haphazard. Like I've just studied a lot of writing, and I'm like, okay, I
mm,
know, how hooks work. I know storytelling, how people get invested in characters, and who the character in the story is, and like all of this stuff, right?
mm.
So
So it's
yeah,
basically about conveying that one message, like your core message, and that's an assumption, but maybe you can correct me. When you think about like the way you delivered it in that one moment, like that's more top of the mind, right? You're
it's
just
more
out
top
of
of
the
mind
moment.
than and I do. I'm open for suggestion and help because
Ah, okay.
in the
Yeah.
end, I understand that my voice or the way I say things is not that important.
Mm,
What's important is the message resonating with the audience.
mm,
You know what I mean? That's why, like, I think Postel is great because if I can take my knowledge and my advice, my experience, my message, my brand, and give it to Postel, right? And then
mm.
it says, hey, you can say this way to get more attention.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say the more attention. I'm not gonna be like, no, this is my voice, and
Yeah, yeah.
you know what
But
I mean? Like,
a lot of people like that's
mm,
something I didn't expect.
mm,
The most common objections we had so far is I'm afraid to lose my authenticity.
mhm.
And we still have to define what people mean by that, actually. And I'm afraid it doesn't sound like me. It doesn't, it sounds like AI slop. And that's like the biggest things we have to, like when it comes to Postel, we have to address on the landing page or like in the way we present it, because a lot of people that was like the biggest objections, right?
But that's not a real objection,
Okay.
in my opinion. I don't think it's a
Yeah.
real objection. I think it's more uh
It's more like a way to say I don't think it's working.
no, I think it's kind of that I think I know better than you guys, and let me teach you something about authenticity. And it's like, bro,
Ah, okay.
the
Yeah.
future is about AI. So I don't care about your authenticity, right?
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
if it works, it works. Like, oh, the I want to hand draw my images, and it's like, really, bro? Show me, show me, show me your caricature of me. Here's
Yeah.
my picture. It's gonna take you 7 days to draw Ghibli style
Yeah.
anime version of me. I can do it in 5 seconds with
Mm.
AI. Is it inauthentic? Like that's just anti-accelerationism, I think.
Mm,
I
okay.
think that's a philosophical thing. I don't think that is a technical value proposition thing.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
How would you convince somebody, like if you would be in my shoes, or do you even think it's worth going for people with
Yeah, I
that
would tell
objection?
them it's a ripe opportunity to change somebody's philosophy and gain them as a customer. Tell them, what would you rather have? 100 impressions on your authentic voice, or 50,000 impressions on an AI enhanced version of your message?
That's so good. I have to use that.
You know what I mean? Like,
I have to use that.
who cares?
Mm.
Like, the point is to get attention and share a message, share your idea, share a message.
Yeah.
It's not how you write. You're not a writer. You're
Yeah.
not a poet. You know what I mean? Like, if it's poetry, maybe. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, keep it. Capture the essence of humanity. Fantastic. But if it's just you're trying to send a message,
Mm.
you want the message to resonate, and yeah, who cares? Like, it's
That's like a good framework. Like there
yeah,
was like a missing puzzle piece I needed, basically,
yeah.
because a lot of people came with those two objections, and I didn't have really a comeback besides you have the ability to set it up in a way it will sound like you, but that's not a strong comeback.
No, who cares if it sounds like me? Like, it's my message, and I have the ability to edit it.
Yeah.
So, like, if I don't like how it sounds, but I like the core message of it, I can just edit it and add my phrases in it, like, hell yeah, or something,
Yeah, true. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and make it my own. Like, that's just an extra piece that they want to layer on top of the value proposition, is saying, hey, I want to take this viral message and then layer on top of that my voice. So
Mm,
maybe you can say in your background information phrases you often use.
yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? and
Yeah.
and that can, you know you can mix it in. you know like, for me, like, I say hell yeah. I don't write YEAH, right? I just say yeah. Well, IE. So that's a phrase I use. So,
Yeah.
like, and the AI understands it. It understands I'm trying to say hell yeah. So maybe phrases I use is a way to
Mm,
address it more directly, that objection.
yeah.
Yeah. But what other objections are you getting?
Um, the third one I have on like in my mind right now is like I want to learn it myself. I'm just starting out and I want to learn it myself.
Okay.
Like I
And
want
how
to
are you
practice.
addressing?
I don't have a comeback for that. Like my go-to would be, I think I said, if you feel like that's leading nowhere after 2 weeks. Get back to me. Like if you feel like you could
Yeah,
need some
but that's
guidance,
also,
like
yeah, that objection is also addressable because
yeah,
you can learn with the AI. Like it's better for you to get 20 ideas and you practice on those, take
yeah,
those ideas and make them your own
true. Yeah.
and get the feedback.
Mm.
You learn faster. It's like coding with AI, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, like I just started using View Transitions API, and I can go read the docs of the View Transitions API and try to implement it, or just tell the AI, "Hey, I want to use the View Transitions API on these things." It shows me how. Now I know. Like it's a
Yeah.
much faster way of learning to have the AI generated. Or maybe you can also, to address that more directly, is have like a reasoning thing. Like, it generates the post,
Mm.
but then there's a explanation of why this post would be
Interesting.
viral. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
As like a learning thing. So all of these objections are like opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all. Like once we address right now, it's more about like collecting as much data, like depending on the specific customer group we approach,
Yeah,
trying to see which one is the right one and how do we systematically like lay out these or answer these objections in like the copy, for example, of our landing page overall, and
yeah, that's
trying to
good.
move trying to move from like a high touch onboarding to a lower and lower touch onboarding. So the sweet spot of course just getting a lot of organic traffic and then converting that without almost any work.
But
Uh,
it's gonna come from these calls. Like
yeah,
get on
yeah,
calls, and because you get these objections, right?
yeah,
And then the way you want to address them is either through the landing page or even better through the product,
mm,
in ways I'm telling you, like, oh,
yeah,
explanation, oh, phrases I use,
yeah.
things like that. You want to have them built-in features so they're not even dissatisfied. They're like, amazing. They even thought of this? No way. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes,
so
yes. Yeah.
so you get zero customer calls, right?
But
Like,
yeah, maybe I can tell you like how I'm doing. Like sometimes people reach out to me
yeah,
and they ask about Postel, they have some questions, or they have like some questions about X overall. Maybe I can tell you what I do in those calls, and
yeah,
you have some ideas on how to improve it. So basically,
yeah.
I would say those are already warm leads once we get on
Mhm,
the call because we had multiple touches, maybe on X or Discord or something. And
mhm.
they're kind of, they saw a poster, they saw maybe a post about it, and they're interested in how it could help them.
Yeah.
So, what I do basically is I get on a call with them and I ask them about their goals overall. Like, what do you want to achieve with, like, on X? What's the dream outcome for you? So they describe that, and then I'm asking them, um, what's holding you back? What's the struggle right now? Where are the pain points? What are your questions about X? Like, what information do you need to get there on your own,
Mm,
basically? So they list out, most of the times they hit me with some questions, I can answer them. Um, and sometimes there's like this one thing where I start to screen record their
mhm,
X profile. And then I'm trying to I'm explaining them and from my standpoint what they should improve.
okay,
Um,
that's
so
good.
basically, we go through their posts or maybe their profile, their bio, um, and then, for example, I see okay they struggle to get past 200 impressions on a
Mhm,
regular basis. Then every time I find something like that, a problem like that, I tie the solution to Postel. So I'm not saying you could solve this with Postel. I'm saying this is the way. So basically I say, okay, listen, you don't get past 1K impressions on a regular basis. I think that's mostly related to your hook. If your hook
mhm,
sucks, you won't get past 1K impressions. You don't lure enough readers into the rest of your posts. People just scroll by.
Mhm,
And then I showed them like an example. Like this is how I come up with hooks, like
mhm,
for myself. And then I showed them how I'm using Postel. And
mhm,
then I move on to the next thing. Okay, you post a lot of progress stuff, but you should mix it up. It gets
mhm,
boring or repetitive over time.
mhm.
This is how I'm using Postel to solve this for myself. I'm not like hard selling them, but I'm showing them basically this is how you could reach your goal using Postel, like speeding up that process. But overall, I'm giving them the information um, so they could do it also without Postel. Postel is more
Yeah,
like,
it's not a bad
yeah,
approach, but you can just cut the whole time by saying,
yeah,
"Hey, uh, I know you're struggling with getting impressions.
yeah,
Can I show you post?"
okay, yeah, yeah,
And then you're like, "Hey, thank you for joining the call. At any moment, interrupt me, ask me questions, whatever. But here's how Postal can help you. You open up Postal, you fill it, and then you show them the flow. That's why I'm telling you, like, crush that one use case,
yeah,
because that use case has beginning, middle, and end,
yeah,
right? And then just show them, hey, this
yeah,
is how you use Postal. You go in here, you put in all this stuff, and they're gonna interrupt you. Hey, what about this? What? And then that conversation
yeah,
is gonna open up ideas for Postal,
yeah, yeah,
and don't be afraid to sell it. Like,
yeah,
it's fine. Like, if it solves my problem and you show me that it solves my problem, it's a
yeah.
win-win situation.
Yeah, that's how I'm thinking about it too. Like
You know what I mean? So
I
it's
was watching a lot of and reading some stuff about like sales, and they always said like make it about the customer. So I thought, okay, I think it's really interesting for somebody to hop on a call with somebody they don't know, and you
yeah,
both look like it takes the pressure out of it, kind of. If you both look at the profile of the customer, basically, or of the
yeah,
lead, and first, and then move on to the selling part, you could say. That's how I
yeah. It's
approach it
it's
so
just
far.
demonstration. Even it's
Yeah,
you don't have to sell it at all. Just say, hey, I'm building a product that
yeah,
helps people get more impressions. Do you mind giving me feedback on it if I show it to you?
yeah, okay,
That
yeah,
way, it's the whole sale is removed.
yeah, yeah,
It's just them doing you a favor.
mhm,
You know what I mean? And
yeah,
then you can just have the conversation as you're showing them Postal, and they give you feedback here, they give you feedback there. If your product is impressive, they're gonna say, "Hey, where do I buy it?"
true,
You know what I mean?
true, yeah.
Yeah.